Hello and welcome back to another MacTrains. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for tuning in once more. Just a sort of roundup update. No one thing really to focus on today, but a bit of a chat, I suppose. First of all, the National Festival of Model Railways, that's coming up. That's at the NEC this Saturday, 23rd November 2024, in case anybody's still listening in a year's time and gets confused. We're waiting to see, I suppose, if there's anything TT120 related by way of announcements from Hornby or anybody else. Probably not. I must be honest, in my heart of hearts, I'm not really expecting there to be anything directly, unless it relates to updates for previously announced models. I think that's a reasonable shout. So maybe updates to the J50s or confirmation of liveries for the Class 37s, maybe even releasing pre-orders. That's no inside information, that's just speculation and guesswork and probably miles off. But if I was to think what there might be, I'd be surprised at anything new, but there might be updates on what's already out there. That will be at least something. It's been a wee bit weak in the last month or two. We're looking for something to come through, and the NEC National Festival would seem to be a place that would be a reasonable launch pad if they wanted to use it. At the time of recording, the Class 66s and the HST sets still tracking to be released before the end of the year. Maybe just before Christmas, maybe just after, depending on how everything works out. But it'd be good at least to get, I think, the 66s out. And it'll be a huge miss, I think, not to have the HST train sets before Christmas. I'd imagine that's something they're really working very hard to try to turn around as soon as they come in the door to get them out again, if at all possible. Usual affiliate links in the description below, so feel free to make use of that if you choose to. Actually, on that, a personal note, if you'll allow an aside, can I just say a huge thank you to everyone who has chosen to use some of my affiliate links. It's a lovely gesture. I really appreciate that, especially when there's plenty of other places you could go to order, plenty of other YouTubers who have their affiliates as well. And I am very, very grateful. I've hesitated putting this out there as well as a thank you, because I suppose it could be seen as a sort of a sales pitch, a reminder, by the way, about this, or some sort of subliminal pressuring of anyone who hasn't. That's not it at all. It genuinely is a thank you to those who have. No hard sell, no pressure, far less the teeniest bit of obligation. This channel is because I enjoy doing it, and that's an aside, and it's a bonus to me. So a sincere thank you if you've done so. And if you haven't, you still enjoyed the channel and you interacted, great. I really appreciate that hugely as well. Recently, I've not really done very much by way of modelling. I've not really made much progress. I put together a little N scale station halt, Broomhill station, that I got on the Strathspey Heritage Line in the summer. I thought it might just be usable for TT, but it's definitely N scale, so it was interesting put together. It was a laser cut kit by these chaps here, Make 3Ds, and it was fine, but it's certainly not a high-end model of any kind. But it was something to pass a little bit of time, and I enjoyed doing that. So what I've been doing has not really been TT related at all. In fact, there's a bit of N scale. Some months ago now, a friend, in fact 2 friends, have given me some of their old locos, which, and I suspect some of you who watch this channel, you know what this is like. In their minds, they're both passing on massively valuable heirlooms, as it were, and gifting it to you. And in my mind, it very much, they're giving me some of their old locos to see if I can get them running again, and I'm going to be giving them back to them once that's done. And often they're not maybe of the value that they might have assumed. A lot of people seem to think that old trains have inherent value, and not many of them do, is what we've all found when we try to sell them on again, and especially if we go to a retailer and we get what we might feel at least is a derisory offer back for our cherished possessions that we've kept in such immaculate condition, gathering dust in the loft for 40 years. And then we wonder why it's not worth very much. So anyway, I've got a few of these things handed on to me, and as I say, maybe some of you have done the same. And so it was always on my conscience and to-do list to actually get round to getting them going, and I hadn't done anything. And I mention that because it was also my to-do list to dismantle a layout. My youngest, his layout, he'd really kind of not touched it and outgrown it somewhat, and it was not very well located. It was hanging from a rather dubious pulley system in the garage, and so that had been dismantled. And I decided, well, before I dismantle this, and there's nowhere left really to properly test these things, no 00 scale. There's a small shunting there, but that's not much use for trying to get things running. I would get these things on and I would give them a go. So we managed that, and we got cleaned up a wee bit, at least enough to say to them, yeah, these things are still working fine, they're in good condition. There's an old tank engine there. I'm sure it must be a Hornby 00. I should have checked that. Weighs an absolute ton, metal bodied thing. Almost too heavy now. It's pretty sure the motor could do with maybe remagnetizing. It's not got much grunt, but they got it going, and it's great to see these things come back alive. Then there's this American style diesel that should be one side or the other. I don't know where I've edited this yet, but somewhat. And that actually runs on an, if you take the body off, it's an old, you remember the famous Triang dock shunters, the 040s. It's a dock shunter chassis with a rather ingenious extension to the chassis, almost like an articulated trailer for a lorry. And then this sort of American body put on top. It did have lights at one time. There was still one bulb there when I got it, but it was done, and so didn't get the lights working again. But managed to get short circuit in there as well somewhat. A bit of a tidy up, bit of an oil. Managed to get that underway as well. Still more to do, give them a proper clean out. And there's also a Lima Hymek, I think it is. That again should be on one side of me or the other, and it's really quite a weak runner. Again, a clean up of pickups and the wheels, and it's going, but I don't think it doesn't take much to stop that. I think adding any kind of a load behind it, and it would be stopping more than starting, and get quite frustrating quite quickly. So and that, then having done that, then there was no more excuse, no more putting off the inevitable, and so it's time to dismantle the layout. And you can see again, hopefully on the side, a picture of that dismantled board, and maybe some of the stages of getting there. Can't quite remember right now how many pictures I took at different points. I intended to, and then just got carried away and forgotten. It reminded me, I suppose, how much faster it is to take down a layout than it is put up. I remember the hours spent wiring that layout, and working underneath the board and trying to get soldered or resoldering joints that had come apart and things, and getting everything done, and it comes down in almost no time. And it was a good layout, and we enjoyed working it together with my family over the years, but it's done its time. And then I suppose that feeds into, well, something with what next, because there's now that lovely big board sitting there. I'm sure we can find something to fill it up with again. I haven't decided that yet, or really come into any kind of thoughts even. So if you have any thoughts, let me know in the comments. And on that then, just finally, if I can make an appeal, I am toying with, and not terribly successfully resisting, the urge to maybe try my hand at resin 3D printing. Some of you will know I've got a wee FDM printer here. It's a very basic model, churns away, does a few simple things, coal loads and so on, timber loads, and I'm very happy with it. I was astonished, in fact, at it. But then you kind of get the itch to scratch the next level and see if you could make something a bit more high end, a bit more professionalized. So I'm looking for suggestions, and if you have any, what should I try next? Answers in the comments. Get going. I do enjoy the comment section of YouTube, which is something I don't often say about many things, but I do enjoy the comment section of YouTube on this channel and most of the other model railway channels as well. I think it's a great interaction. So that's really all. Short and sweet, relatively speaking. If you made it this far, pat yourself on the back for doing so, and gold star and all that. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already done so. If you have, of course, that's greatly appreciated, and hopefully see you again with maybe a bit more substantive comment or update or something in the near future. Right. Thanks for your time.